Thank you for purchasing a DF807 leg curl leg extension machine by Deltech Fitness. Your DF807 will be shipped in one box. In the box, you will find a C rear pad box, B front pad box, G leg swing, F rear foot, bubble wrap with I leg pad tubes and J weight rod, a small box with Olympic and standard size bumpers, collars, Q knobs, L mount, P shoes, instructions, and hardware, roller pad boxes with roller pads and X mushroom caps, H handle, D front foot, K body frame, and Olympic plate adapters. We're going to start by installing the shoes on the front foot. There is a long side of the shoe, and this part touches the floor. The holes will be the side of the tube. Next, we're going to install the shoes on the rear foot. The handles on the rear foot will be facing up, so orient the long side of the shoes the opposite direction. Once the shoes are on, grab the K body frame and the front and rear feet. You will have 6 M12 by 76 mm bolts in your bolt pack. Grab 4 of them, 8 washers, and 4 lock nuts. Thread the bolts through a washer, then through the feet into the flange on the body frame. Slip another washer over the bolt and thread a nut on hand tight for now until all 4 are in. Once all 4 are in, go ahead and tighten them down with some 19 mm wrenches. All nuts on Deltech Fitness products are lock nuts. That means there's a nylon insert in the top of the nut. You must tighten through the nylon insert in the nut to get the nut tight. Once the nut is tight, the nylon insert keeps the nut from backing off, hence the name lock nut. Grab mount L and the 2 remaining M12 by 76 mm bolts. Top bolt will thread into a nut that is welded into the frame body. The bottom bolt will need an additional washer and nut to tighten down. Grab handle H and the 2 M10 carriage bolts. The carriage bolts have a square peg under their smooth head to keep them from spinning while tightening. Drop the carriage bolts into the square holes and thread handle H onto the bolts. Make sure that the handles are facing toward the back of the bench. With one hand, hold everything together while you thread on an M10 washer and lock nut to hold everything in place. Once both nuts are on, push down on the top of the carriage bolts and tighten down the nuts with a 17 mm wrench. Next, we're going to install the B front pad with 4 of the small U M10 bolts and washers. Place the pad on the main body and line up the holes. To get the bolts started, gently lift on the pad and start threading in the bolts. Only tighten the bolts a few turns until all 4 are in. If you snug any bolt before the others are installed, you might have a hard time getting the other bolts started. Next, we're going to install the C rear pad the exact same way. If you notice, the T-bolts on the pad are offset toward one side. The side the bolts are closest to faces toward the front of the bench. Once all 4 bolts are in, go ahead and run them down by hand before snugging them with a 17 mm wrench. Don't tighten these bolts too tight because the T-nuts are only installed in plywood. Tighten the rear pad and front pad at this time. Next, it's time to prepare the leg swing assembly. Grab the leg swing and the Q knobs. The E slide adjustments should be inside of the swing. If they are not, please check your box. They might have slidden out. If the slide adjustment tube has come out of the leg swing, the hole will go toward the outside of the tube. Position the slide tubes where you can see the big hole in the slot of the leg swing, then tighten the Q knobs onto the welded nuts that hold the slides in place. Once the slides are secured in place, remove the twist tie holding the bushings in the top of the tube. Make sure to not let them fall out and get lost. Then grab the largest M12 bolt, 2 washers, and 1 lock nut. Thread the bolt through one washer, then lift the leg swing up into position. Thread the bolt through the flange on the main body, then through the bushings in the swing, then through the other flange. Slip on a washer, then thread on the lock nut. Grab your J weight plate rod and the smallest M8 bolt and washer. Slide the weight rod through the non-adjustable hole and thread the bolt into the rod to keep it in place. Next, grab the I leg pad tubes and thread them through the holes in the adjustment tubes. Push a foam roller onto each side of both leg pad tubes until you can see the tube come out of the other side of the roller pad. Finally, grab the X mushroom caps. The best tool to install these caps is a dead blow hammer. They are available at any hardware store and fairly inexpensive. Hold one side of the leg pad tube and tap the mushroom cap into place until it is fully seated. Do not try to use a small hammer because you will crack the cap. If you don't want to get a dead blow hammer, a small dumbbell will also work if you are careful. Next, go ahead and snug up the swing assembly. This bolt needs to be loose enough to let the swing move freely, but tight enough to take the sideways plate out of the swing. The last bolt to tighten is the weight rod bolt. Your hardware pack comes with a combination wrench that has a correctly sized hex in the middle. The last thing to do is install your Deltech Fitness decal. If you're going to use this bench with standard 1-inch plates, go ahead and install the rubber bumpers and your standard plates. We have provided standard collars as well. If you only have Olympic plates, do not install the small 1-inch bumpers. Slide the Olympic adapters over the weight rod and tighten them down with a 5mm Allen key. Install the 2-inch rubber bumpers before putting on the plates. We have also provided Olympic-sized collars. With the tighten down knob, adjust the foam rollers to a comfortable working position. This bench is made as a one-size-fits-all. We've had people under 5 foot and over 6'5" use the DF807 comfortably. The simple welded frame design should serve you a lifetime of problem-free use. If you need replacement rollers or caps, you can find them at deltechfitness.com. Thank you for choosing Deltech Fitness.